My name is Alphonso Henry and this is my story. Alphonso is a kind-hearted person. I am also an artist, I am also a volunteer, and I am involved in a number of organizations. My childhood was somewhat of a challenge, as I am the fourth of 7 siblings, and where I grew up, it was 1-bedroom house, 4 of us, plus my mother, and it's like everything was not the best, but I embraced those challenges and turned them into positive things. I was not the child that grew up with all that they needed, but what I received, I made the best of it. As a child, I was teased a lot, bullied, because I was seen as weak, because things that I loved, persons didn't respect that. And this followed through up until now that I'm older and, must I say, a little better off than I was when I was younger. And it is still a bit sad, but I try to put my past behind and live in the future. When you go to school and all your friends talking about, oh, my mommy gave me this for my birthday, or my daddy gave me this for my birthday. I was not the child that received those things. Like, some persons may have gotten 3 shirts a year. I was a child that got 1 and had to do it that for maybe about 2 years. However, having these challenges made me stronger as a person, because now that I am older, these things don't bother me as much. I don't say this very often, but I grew up using a latrine. Never knew how flush toilets were until I was probably about, let's say, 12. And hearing persons talk about that, it made me feel sad, because I was like, what am I still doing with a latrine in my era? So that was one of my challenges. Some may not see it as a challenge, but in today's society, you would understand. Also, I was bullied a lot in school, because persons thought that, oh, Alphonso said that he wants to be a dancer. And dance was seen more for females than males. And it told me, up until this day, it still bothers me, because persons don't see what I see as a dancer. And it is hard as a male in saying it's when performing, because friends that I had, what I thought I had before I started dancing, they are there no more, because now that I'm dancing, it is a problem. So these are some of the things that I go through daily and are faced with. There are other challenges, but I wish to just speak of those for now. I felt less of a person, yes, but I understand after a while because I knew that my mother was poor, she couldn't afford it, and even now it's still hard, but it gives me a sense of pride because I know that the little that I have, I make good use of it. And as I tell persons that my talent is what I have, and the knowledge that I acquire while going to school and all of that, and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability to get out of my situation. At a young age, and up until now, I still think things would get better, as I believe that everything or every disappointment is a setup for something greater. And as I tell my friends, every bad decision makes a good story. Sometimes we may go down a path that we regret, but in the end, when it is all said and done, you will have something to impart on others. Not just good things, but bad things, and they too can learn from your mistakes and try to better themselves, not only in society, but in their everyday life. I'm not saying that you should just go out and make a bad decision, but if you happen to make a bad decision, just live. You won't forget, but it would be, in the end, you would see that bad decision made you into something good. That's in my opinion. As a youth, I never saw myself going to rob or steal or even use drugs just to be a part of the crowd. My mother, and I owe a lot of respect to her, she instilled some values in me that I must have carried to my grave, because even though I grew up poor and I didn't have all the things that I would have wanted, that didn't deter me, and that didn't mean that I was going out there and steal it or even rob someone from it, because that is not my mentality. I believe that once you push yourself and you devote yourself to whatever you believe in, there will be some way for you to make it, and you will get the things that you need in life. My dad and I have a good relationship. However, my dad lives overseas, so I was around my mother more. My close friends would tell you that I'm a mama's boy. Like, I love my mother dearly, and she, no matter what I'm going through, I always go to my mother, because she's somewhat of my comfort, and we share a lot of sentiments. I have a lot of respect for her, because without my mother, I don't think I would have been where I am now. She's not the person who's gonna tell me every day, son, I love you, but I know she does. And no matter what happens in my life, she's always there, and she's always there to motivate me. Even when I'm feeling down and lost, that things for me won't go how I plan, she gives me that courage and that motivation. And I just owe everything to her. Having the support of my mother is unique to me, but I think that youth should have that support from their mother or parents on a whole. The importance of support from your parents or any family member is of keen importance. As a youth, you look towards these persons because it's not all the time you're gonna want to tell what we call your friends everything. And sometimes the support from your parents may not be there, but still look to them because they are the ones who understands you most. And that is what I love about my mother. She gives me good advice and ways on which I can go about doing things that I think may affect me in the future. And I think that parents should encourage their children. I know sometimes as parents you may say, I'm just fed up of this child, and this child is this or this child is that. Sometimes those words are the reason why children do certain things. So I would encourage you to just encourage your children. Tell them that they're smart. Tell them that you love them every day. These things would go a long way.
My name is Benicia McDonald. I am a volunteer. Why do I volunteer? It builds team spirit and discipline while giving me the experience to perform or work effectively in different fields. You know what? You can volunteer too. If you see there's something to be done in your community or even your country, take the initiative. Volunteer. Give, gain, grow. Volunteer.
My name is Tavo Sargent. I'm an Assistant Comptroller of Customs at the Customs and Excise Department. I have been volunteering with the Youth Department for the past 15 years, and it's been a very exciting experience. What I've been doing surrounds mostly youth development. I volunteered with the summer camp, most of the youth initiatives for the Youth Department, and Children's Carnival when it was a part of the Youth Department. It gives me a pleasure when I see and interact with the young people that I've helped, when I've seen them developed, when I've seen them grow into positive individuals in the community. And what it has done for me, it has opened my eyes to a lot of what goes on in the world, what goes on here in St. Kitts, and what can be effective for young people and the development of our little island. Volunteering is a great experience. You can do your part to help St. Kitts and Nevis grow. Give your time, help one another, do something for St. Kitts and Nevis, and you'll see a better place. Give, gain, grow, volunteer.
Fathers have a vital role to play, especially in their son's life. As we know that boys right now are one of the biggest issues in terms of crime and all these negative things that may come our way in society. And if you don't have a father figure, find a role model, someone that you can look up to and say, I want to be like that person. I want persons to remember me as someone good. I'm not saying that everything is going to be good, because as youth, we tend to fall for peer pressure a lot. But never mind what you may incur as a youth in the early stages of your life. Just remember that there's a future ahead of you and that things would get better. When I entered the secondary level of my life, or must I say a school, everyone thought that Alphonso would not be going anywhere. And I understood why. There wasn't a week that Alphonso wasn't in the office. Alphonso wasn't suspended. Alphonso wasn't fighting. Because I felt to get away from, or to, must I say, to fit in, I must do the things that persons did. So, every day, if someone interfered with me, I think that we must fight, or I must argue. And that happened for about 3 years of my life. And then one day, I was home and I was thinking, and I said to myself, this mentality has to change. It must change. And dance was my love from a very early age, as my aunt was a dancer herself, and I just used to stand at the window watching her practice, and I said to myself, one day I'll be as good as she is. And in third form, I made that bold step to join the Acola Tegrevantine Arts Theatre. My mother didn't know what I did, as I didn't know how to go about it. As good as our relationship is, I didn't know how to go about and tell her that I had joined the school. So every day I would walk down the road, and persons may know my mother. She's a street vendor by the name of Fan. Most persons would know her by. And I would go down the road and I'd sit by her tray for about 5 minutes. Then I'd say, Mommy, I'm coming back. And I'll walk to the high school. Little did she know that I'm going through the high school, but I'm going to jump over the park wall to go to dance session. Because I didn't know how to go about and tell her, okay, Mommy, I joined the school. How my mother got to know that I was in Acola. I had my first performance in the square with the Acola Tegrevantine. And all she knew, that someone told her I was on stage dancing. And from that day, that's how she knew, and that is how I got into dancing. From that time, my life changed drastically. I was no longer in confusion, I was no longer fighting. Like, my life took a complete turn. And I must thank my mother for this, and everything that we do in life, we realize it's for either a good or it would make something good in the end. My mother accepted the fact that I wanted to be a dancer, and this is what my career goal and my profession would be in the future. Dance has done so much for me, it's beyond words, and I would never give it up for anything. When I'm down, I dance. When I'm happy, I dance. When I'm sick, I dance. Sometimes there isn't even music playing, but I'm home dancing. Dance has given me numerous opportunities. And it all started, as I said, when I joined the Acola Tegrevantine. When I started, I was not the best. because I had potential. And knowing this, every day I would go to sessions about a half an hour to an hour early. And everything I learned the day before, I would practice. Practice. And within a year of being in Okola, persons knew who Alphonso was. I was dancing here, dancing there. My first performance overseas was in St. Croix. I could remember it like yesterday when Alphonso Henry, which is the dance specialist of culture and also the leader of Okola, when she said, I want you to join the group to travel overseas to perform. I was ecstatic. It was like a dream come true, and it was like finally someone sees what I see myself. As time rolled on, the opportunities got greater and greater. I had the opportunity of not only participating regionally but internationally. Apart from winning a number of dance competitions here on island, in 2008 I was awarded the Independence Youth Award for promoting culture. A year after, I was given the opportunity to go to Jamaica and do dance training. Then quickly after that, I was also given the opportunity to travel with the Apollo Tegra Arts Theatre on their US tour. And while doing all of this, with a range of emotions running through my mind, I was like, I knew I had something in me, a drive, a motivation to do good and to help others do good. Just recently, must I say, last year, I had the esteemed privilege to represent St. Kitts in Taiwan and South Korea. These were two major trips for me, as I was now seen as a cultural ambassador, not only for my only for myself, but for my country in terms of representation. And it was an eye-opener for me, not only in cultures, but respect for others. As in these parts of the world, or in those parts of the world, you realize that the little things that we take for granted, we should appreciate. And having all of this given to me, almost I say, it was not given, because I must say I worked hard to ensure that persons understand who Alphonso is. And I did so through dance. My most recent project was auditioning for a musical in Switzerland. It was a worldwide musical, and I was chosen in top 70. However, I didn't make the finals, but this was an accomplishment. And I say this to say that youths, you have the drive to do whatever you want in life. And as a performer, or whatever you're involved in, use it to the best of your ability. Empower persons. Encourage persons. Be that motivation that you want to see in others. In life, there are gonna be ups and downs. There are gonna be a lot of disappointment because things don't just come. You have to work. And no matter how hard it is, just press on. Press on for whatever you want in life. And don't let anyone tell you you cannot do it. Some person said that being a performer is not a real job. But I'm telling you, being a performer is a real job. We tend to think that in life we must be a doctor, we must be a lawyer. But take a walk in my shoe and see what I see in dance and through performance. Persons know me for dance, but I can tell you, if you put me on the stage to sing, dramatize, I do them just as good as I dance. I do see myself as a role model, and I act as a role model, not only for myself, but for persons in society. And I tend to do as much to motivate persons as possible. Because sometimes I'm walking and sometimes this strange voice saying, Alphonso, Alphonso. I don't know that person, but that person knows me. And when I look at it, I say, persons in society respect me, and I must respect them. And in order to do so, I must respect myself, and I must lead by example. To my fellow youths, I say this to you. Do not go where the path may lead. Instead, go where there is no path and leave a trail. You control your destiny. And I would tell you this, no matter what happens in life, you are somebody, and you're somebody good. And in life there will be challenges, but there will be good times. Embrace the challenges. As I said, every bad decision makes a good story. My name is Alphonso Henry, and this was my story.